The top wide receiver in the class of 2025, Dakorien Moore, recently decommitted from LSU. He is back on the market. So where could he be headed next? The question I want to ask and answer right now is, where would he fit best next when it comes to where he's playing his college football? Make sure you're subscribed right here to the On3 YouTube channel. Also, this is crucial now, make sure you're also subscribed to the On3 Recruits YouTube channel. You got the Wilt Fong Whip Around. You got the Inside Scoop with Josh Newberg. You got the 5-Star Flex with Phillip Dukes. Everything that you need when it comes to the recruiting world in college football is going on that channel. We also talk about it on this channel, but subscribe to both those channels to have everything that you need college football recruiting-wise covered. Because this segment, not an intel segment. What I want to talk about is a recruiting topic from a college football point of view, which is, of course, Dakorien Moore and where he might be headed next. So Dakorien Moore, 5'11", 175-pound stud out of Duncanville High School in Duncanville, Texas, decommits from LSU again last Thursday. He has an official visit tour lined up. He is going to Ohio State at the end of May. He's going to the hometown Texas Longhorns June 14th and finishing up with Oregon June 21st. Should be noted, Dakorien Moore put on his Twitter page, X page, whatever you want to call it, he said, "My recruitment is not open. So just because I'm broken up with somebody doesn't mean I don't know where I'm headed next, or doesn't mean I still don't have my options narrowed down, my ducks in a row, no pun intended there." So with that being said, again, this is not an intel segment. I'm not calling my shot for where he's going, but I am going to tell you where I think he would fit best next. Let's go school by school here in chronological order based on his official visit tour that he's set to go on here. So Ohio State, getting the first visit, end of May. The proof there is in the pudding if you're going to go play wide receiver at Ohio State. Like, if Dakorien Moore committed to Ohio State, would anybody really be that surprised? And I don't mean surprised from like an intel from what you're hearing behind closed doors and things like that, or what the message boards are saying. I just mean if a big-time wide receiver gives their commitment to Ohio State, the reasons are fairly obvious as to why they would do that. There's no massive explanation needed. It's Brian Hartline and his track record of developing wide receivers, allowing them to have success while they're at Ohio State, and then putting them in position to be drafted pretty high in the NFL draft when it's their turn to hear their name called. In the last 5 years, Brian Hartline has had 5 wide receivers drafted. 4 of those have gone in the first round. So, yeah, there's not a whole lot of, why would it be Ohio State? What pitch could they make to Dakorien Moore? It's, hey, come to Ohio State. We pretty much produce wide receivers like it's our job. And for the record, it is Brian Hartline's job. Also think it's worth noting here, and we pretty much just put the wide receiver guru label on Brian Hartline, and for good reason, because that's what he has been. Brian Hartline isn't just a coach of the wide receiver position. My guy also had a career in the NFL. So it's not just like I think I can help you get there, because he obviously has, and obviously can help you get there to where you want to get in the NFL, but he's also played the position at a really high level. I think that gets overlooked a little bit when we talk about Brian Hartline, so we're going to make sure we give him his flowers in that regard. Texas, they are the meat in the official visit sandwich, if you will, for Dakorien Moore. There's the most smoke right now around the Longhorns, for the obvious of them being the in-town school, or the in-state school, rather. Inside Texas's very own Eric Nahlin put in a pick, I think like a month ago. Like, he called this way back when he was still committed to LSU, was Dakorien Moore, that he was going to flip and end up at Texas. Texas is less than 3 hours drive time from where Dakorien Moore goes to high school. The confidence for Dakorien Moore in who the head coach is in Steve Sarkisian, and what Steve Sarkisian's going to do in the future at Texas, I have to believe is going to be a selling point when it comes time for him to make his decision, because Steve Sarkisian has proven what? He's an offensive guru. That's pretty clear. Second, he has also proven he's going to have a quarterback to be able to get playmakers the football. Like, Quinn Ewers is just the tip of the iceberg, in my opinion. You also got Arch Manning at Texas currently. Have to believe that at least helps in the pitch to bring a guy like Dakorien Moore to Texas, in addition to what they're going to do in future classes. Like Steve Sarkisian has proven, if you get him playmakers in any offense, he will cook. Like Steve Sarkisian, doesn't matter the ingredients. If you get him good ingredients, he will cook. All right, and Dakorien Moore, for the record, in this metaphor, would be really good ingredients. I think Dakorien Moore also has to look at what Texas has done in the last couple of years at the NFL draft. Like Xavier Worthy, Adonai Mitchell, Both got drafted in the first 2 rounds of this most recent NFL draft. So they don't have the track record necessarily over the course of the last 5 years that Ohio State does. But you look at the way they're trending, they have that development feather in their cap now. Also, the way that program's trending overall with them just making the college football playoff, just beat Alabama by double digits in Tuscaloosa. Also, by the way, they're headed to the SEC. It's a pretty nice filter to run your tape through when it's time to go to the NFL draft is, oh, yeah, that's against Georgia. Oh, yeah, that's against Alabama. Oh, yeah, that's against insert whatever SEC power you want to in that blank. Understanding now that whoever Dakorien Moore lines up against on Saturdays, if he goes to Texas, more likely than not, the guy that's covering him or the defense on the other side of that field is NFL caliber to some respect. So Texas, the pitch is obvious there in my mind. A lot of smoke there. So keep an eye on Texas. I really do understand that fit there. Now, Oregon gets the last official visit here of these 3, June 21st. And while Oregon doesn't have that geographic advantage with them being all the way out there in Eugene and Dakorien Moore being in the state of Texas, Oregon has proven they are willing to and able to recruit at a national level. That Oregon brand holds some weight. And if we're just going to talk from an X's and O's standpoint, one of the things that we love about Dakorien Moore here at On 3 is his ability after the catch. Like his comp for us when it comes to the NFL level is Odell Beckham Jr. That's a pretty nice comp to get, one, as a high school player, so that tells you what we think about Dakorien Moore. And second, his ability with what he does after the catch kind of gives a bit of a reminder as to how OBJ operates in the open field or operated early in his career. Like the first play that I saw of his highlight reel, you throw him a bubble, he goes to the house, is probably like 70, 80 yards. He's got that kind of ability, that kind of track speed. And to bring it full circle here, Oregon's offense, what did people make fun of Bo Nix for last year? Oh, he's a check down artist. He throws the ball lateral so often. Well, if you're going to throw the ball lateral, if you're going to check it down, what does that equip your playmakers to do? Make something happen in space on the perimeter. Use your God-given abilities to make one miss and get north and south and put up crazy yards doing it. So what that means is you're going to get a lot of touches, going to be able to put up great numbers, and going to be able to put your skill set of what you do after the catch on full display. Oregon last year had not one but 2 1,000-yard wide receivers in Tez Johnson and Troy Franklin. We gotta address the elephant in the room here too. Got to address the elephant in the room. I don't care what anybody says. If you show me this as a recruit, if you show me the helmet, you show me the unis, you let me take a photo shoot in the Nike gear, that's going to factor in, okay? I promise you, so that you can say whatever you want. And I'm not telling you Dakorien Moore isn't saying it's factoring in. I don't know what his thought is on this, but I'm telling you, you get me in the Phil Knight gear, it's going to have some sort of impact. I mean, let's call a spade there, all right? So, don't sleep on Oregon is all I'm going to say. I understand that Ohio State's got the wide receiver pedigree and Texas and Steve Sarkisian have that pedigree, but Oregon's going to be, I think, one to watch just for that sheer factor. I would not count out Oregon if I'm just looking at this thing from the pitch they could make perspective. Now, with all that being said, I think Texas makes the most sense from a football perspective, from a geographical perspective. His teammate Colin Simmons is now at Texas. He's going to be able to help recruit him over there. I really do think it matters that they play in the SEC. And that's not speaking down on the Big Ten at all with Ohio State and Oregon, but I do think that high school athletes watch the NFL draft every year. They see the number of guys from the SEC that go each and every year, and they have to, I think, have some sort of awareness there to say, okay, if I want to go to the next level, which every single one of these kids that are ranked as high as they are, Dakorien Moore is the number 1 wide receiver in the country, promise you has aspirations to go play at the next level. I think that factors in. I don't know if that's the deciding factor, but I think that, with what I just said, the geographical location, Steve Sarkisian and his offense. Steve Sarkisian is going to have a quarterback at some point in time. Whenever Dakorien Moore is there, he's going to have a guy for him. Like, I see the thought process behind the other 2 schools, but for me, Texas makes the most sense from a fit perspective, and I'm going to trust the RPM there, and I think Texas would be the place that he could potentially end up at. So again, these are just fits. This is not an intel segment. I'm not telling you that I've talked to Dakorien Moore or anybody in his camp and I have some sort of inside information. Purely from a college football perspective, purely from a where he would fit, in my opinion, I think Dakorien Moore in Texas makes a lot of sense, but I would not count out Ohio State or Oregon by any stretch of the imagination. Going to be a lot of fun to keep an eye on the message boards over at Letterman Row, over at Inside Texas, over at Scoop Duck for Dakorien Moore and his official visits he's got lined up here through June. Make sure you're subscribed here to the On3 YouTube channel. Hey, get at me on the socials now, on Instagram and on Twitter at JD Piquel. Let me know where you think Dakorien Moore is headed next. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Going to keep this party rolling, and we will see y'all next time. Hey, y'all. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.